Hello, and welcome back to Clever Tricks. When tomatoes are in season and inexpensive, it's the perfect time to buy them in bulk and make the most of the harvest. You can turn them into flavorful tomato powder to use whenever you need it, or preserve whole tomatoes in a variety of ways for seasoning soups, sauces, or meat marinades throughout the year. However, if tomatoes aren't stored properly, you may end up throwing them away because they spoil easily, or they may lose the fresh, delicious flavor they had when you first bought them. Today, I'll show you how to turn ripe tomatoes into delicious tomato powder that can be stored for months. I'll also share 2 simple techniques to help the tomatoes dry faster, reduce the risk of mold, and preserve their natural flavor. With just a spoonful, you can add rich tomato flavor to soups, sauces, pasta dishes, and marinades. Be sure to watch until the end of the video to discover even more convenient ways to use this versatile tomato powder in your kitchen. Method 1. Making tomato powder. First, prepare about 1.5 to 2 kilograms of fresh tomatoes. Choose naturally ripe, bright red tomatoes that are firm and free from bruises to achieve the best color and richest flavor. Place the tomatoes in the sink, add a little salt and white vinegar, and soak them for about 5 minutes. I have created subtitles in multiple languages. Please select your preferred language. Comment below and let me know which country you are watching from. It's amazing that we can connect from all around the world. This simple trick helps remove dirt, bacteria, and impurities from the skin. After soaking, gently rub each tomato by hand, rinse thoroughly under running water, and let them drain naturally in a colander. Where are you from? It's such a joy that we're connecting from all over the world. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for your support. Once the tomatoes are completely dry, it's time to prepare them. In this video, I'll show you 2 different drying methods, so we'll cut the tomatoes in 2 different ways. For the first method, slice the tomatoes as thinly as possible. The thinner the slices, the faster the moisture evaporates, significantly reducing the drying time while preserving their vibrant color. Tomatoes are an ingredient that is almost always present in my family's meals. Besides adding natural sweetness and beautiful color to dishes, they are rich in vitamin C, vitamin A, potassium, and especially lycopene, the antioxidant responsible for their distinctive red color. Interestingly, most of the lycopene is retained after cooking or drying, and it even becomes easier for the body to absorb. Once the tomatoes are sliced, you can begin drying them. There are several ways to do this. For example, you can arrange the slices on a tray and dry them under direct sunlight. However, this method takes quite a long time. If you'd like to save time as I do, you can use an air fryer instead. Arrange the tomato slices in a single layer in the air fryer basket, making sure they do not overlap so the hot air can circulate evenly. Set the temperature to about 80 to 90 degrees Celsius, 175 to 195 degrees Fahrenheit, and dry them for 2 to 3 hours, depending on the thickness of the slices and their moisture content. Every 1 to 2 hours, check the tomatoes and gently flip the slices so they dry more evenly. While the tomato slices are drying, let's move on to the second method, which is just as quick and effective, cooking the tomatoes into a sauce before drying them in the oven. For this method, simply cut the tomatoes into medium-sized pieces. They don't need to be perfectly uniform. Smaller pieces soften more quickly and allow moisture to evaporate more easily during cooking. What I love most about tomatoes is that they not only give dishes a beautiful natural red color, but also provide many beneficial nutrients. After cutting the tomatoes, place them all in a pan and cook over medium heat until they soften and release their natural juices. Where are you from? It's such a joy that we're connecting from all over the world. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for your support. At this stage, I don't add any salt or seasonings so the tomatoes retain their pure, natural flavor. If you enjoy a little heat, you can add a small amount of chili powder to taste. Once the tomatoes begin releasing plenty of juice, cover the pan and continue cooking over low heat for about 10 to 15 minutes. Stir occasionally to prevent the mixture from sticking or burning. As the tomatoes begin to thicken and most of the liquid has evaporated, continue stirring and gently mash them with a spoon or spatula until the mixture becomes smoother. However, do not blend it into a completely smooth puree, as that would release even more moisture and increase the drying time. Cooking the tomatoes this way removes about 80 to 90% of their moisture, making the drying process much faster and more efficient. Next, spread the tomato mixture evenly onto a baking tray lined with parchment paper, forming a thin, even layer. The thinner the layer, the faster it will dry. Leave the oven door slightly ajar to allow moisture to escape more easily, and check occasionally to ensure the tomatoes dry evenly. Finally, place the tray in the oven and dry it at 75 to 90 degrees Celsius, 165 to 195 degrees Fahrenheit for 3 to 5 hours, or until the tomatoes are completely dry. From this point on, simply let the air fryer or oven finish the job. Whichever method you choose, continue drying until the tomatoes are completely dry, crisp, and contain no remaining moisture. The process may take several hours, but the results are well worth the wait. When the air fryer has finished, remove the tomato slices and check them. If they are slightly curled, crisp, and snap easily when broken by hand, the tomatoes are completely dried. At this point, you can use the dried tomato slices as they are, or grind them into powder, just as I'm doing today. Next, check the batch in the oven. After several hours, the tomato layer should be completely dry and no longer sticky to the touch. Simply remove the tray and break it into smaller pieces to make grinding easier. As you can see, both methods produce dried tomatoes quickly while maintaining excellent color and quality. Once the tomatoes have cooled completely, place them in a blender or spice grinder and pulse in short bursts to keep the machine running smoothly. Continue blending until the dried tomato slices are ground into a fine, fluffy powder with a natural red color and a rich tomato aroma. Then, sift the powder powder through a fine mesh sieve to remove any larger pieces, giving it a smoother, more uniform texture. The finished product is a naturally bright red tomato powder that is fine, fragrant, and very appealing. To preserve its flavor and quality for several months, proper storage is essential. Transfer the powder to a clean glass jar with a tightly sealed lid to keep moisture out. A simple and effective way to prevent moisture is to place a food-safe desiccant packet inside the jar. If you don't have one, you can make your own by wrapping 1 or 2 teaspoons of uncooked rice in a clean piece of paper towel and placing it in the jar with the powder. This simple trick will help keep the powder dry and maintain its quality for longer. With just a few easy steps, you'll have a convenient jar of tomato powder ready to use whenever you need it. I often use tomato powder to make sauce for pasta or macaroni. It's quick and incredibly convenient. Simply mix 1 to 3 tablespoons of tomato powder with a suitable amount of warm water. Then stir well until you get a smooth, thick mixture with a texture similar to fresh crushed tomatoes. Next, pour the sauce directly over the cooked pasta and mix well so that every strand of spaghetti is fully coated with the delicious flavor. In just a few minutes of preparation, you can enjoy a tasty plate of spaghetti with a rich, natural tomato flavor. Convenient, time-saving, and without the need to spend extra time making tomato sauce from scratch. You can sprinkle a little tomato powder over roasted potatoes, popcorn, fried eggs, roasted vegetables, or your favorite snacks to add an appealing reddish-orange color and a natural tomato flavor. The mild, sweet, and tangy taste, along with the distinctive aroma of tomatoes, will blend beautifully with the dish, making the overall flavor richer and more delicious without the need for too much sauce. This is also a simple way to make familiar everyday foods feel new and more exciting. That's how I make tomato powder for everyday cooking. What do you think of the methods I shared today? Try them when tomatoes are in season or at their lowest price. It's a great way to save money while always having a natural, convenient seasoning on hand in your kitchen. If you found this video helpful, save the recipe and let me know how it turns out in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share this video, and subscribe to the channel to support me. Every week, I share more kitchen tips, food storage techniques, and simple homemade seasoning recipes that anyone can make at home. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.